Well, today I want to thank not only God but also Jesus because 21 Pilots just released a new album. Hell yeah. I always liked 21 Pilots, but I liked the way that everyone likes. You know some songs here and there and that's it. But recently I found out that the main topic of their songs are mental health and things like depression and anxiety, for example. And that's why I got so curious about it. So because of that and because they are releasing a new album, I decided to listen to their whole discography and it was the best thing I did for myself. So for today's video, I want to share with you my thoughts after listening to every single track of 21 Pilots. Let's go. So we're starting off with the first album, their self-titled album, so you can imagine that the album's called 21 Pilots. I don't think 21 Pilots is capable of making bad music, but I do not like this album. We cannot really blame them, because if you stop to think, this album was made in like, what, 2009? You know, like a while ago, and it was a debut album. It's really rare to get everything just right when you're just making like your very first album, you know? Even though I personally didn't like, I still think it's interesting to notice how this already set the tone for what 21 Pilots is. If you stop to listen to that when it came out, it probably sounded very, very unique. I think this album is too sad, and it makes a lot of sense because they are talking mainly about depression and anxiety, and like it's not the happiest thing on earth. But in the other albums, I think that they approach sad topics and sad lyrics but with happier melodies, you know, with happy instrumentals, so that makes it more easy to listen to, you know what I'm saying? It gets to the point that gets a little bit boring, at least for me. So this album was kind of difficult. I took like 3 days to finish because I was always getting back to other stuff, while the other albums I was listening like over and over and over. So this album really wasn't for me. But there's this song called Trapdoor that is so good, and I was impressed that when you look at the plays on Spotify, is one of the least played, and I'm like, dude, why you guys don't know this song? It's so good. And another song that I really liked that I put as the best song of the album, it was the only song of the album that I actually saved to my Spotify and felt like listening to it later. Now, I don't know who worked on this album, okay? I don't know who worked on the second album, but I love you forever. I'm gonna love you for the rest of my life because you literally made one of my favorite albums of all time, and I'm not even joking. When I started listening to 21 Pilots, of course I got to know them because of the song Stress Out that everyone knows about. And I don't know, one thing led to another and I started to listen to this album, and still after listening to their whole things and all of the tracks, I still think this is their best album. It was the glow up of 21 Pilots. On this album, there are literally no skippers. There's not a single track that I felt like not listening to. I mean, it's still sad, okay? We're still talking about depression, we're still talking about anxiety, we're still talking about mental health struggles, and that's why it's so powerful to me. I struggle with mental health myself. I really don't want to get into it, but it was one of those really rare feelings that you're listening to something and you feel like, okay, someone understands me, you know, someone knows what I'm going through. Hands down, my favorite is Holding On To You. I am completely obsessed with this song. It's been a while that I listened to this song, and I love it so much. It's on my list of favorite songs in life. I love it, and I put it as the best track of the album because I can't. Dude, like there is this guy who always comments on my video. Thank you, by the way, hope you're watching this. And he said that he really likes 21 Pilots, and in my last video I said that I've been obsessed with the song Migraine, and he said that if he could recommend any 21 Pilots song to anyone, that would be the song. Even though it's not the best 21 Pilots song, it's a song that really translates what they are, and I couldn't agree more. It's a song that is very explicit about mental health, but it's very dynamic as well. So if you listen to the whole discography of 21 Pilots and then you listen to this song Migraine, everything's gonna make sense. You know, you're gonna be like, okay, this is 21 Pilots. At first, I didn't like this song. I remember listening to this song for the first time. I was cleaning my bathroom, but by the end of the song I was like, what was that? I had to stop cleaning my bathroom, come back to my phone, and play the song again. This song, it's almost like a poem, you know, it's almost like a spoken song. I don't know, the way that the lyrics connect from the start to the beginning, so you really have to be paying attention for the song to make sense, and I think this is brilliant, you know? So now we're still on Vessel, yes, we're still on this album because, dude, this album is so good, so dynamic. Another song that is also on my playlist of my favorite songs in life is the Run and Go. I am completely obsessed with this song. The instrumental is the instrumental for me. Okay, now we're getting into the album Blurryface. That probably was the album that made you know 21 Pilots. Yes, it was. Pretty much everyone got to know 21 Pilots because of the song Stressed Out. It was either that or the song Right. And honestly, both of those are on my list of best tracks of 21 Pilots. And this album was, I mean, in my perspective, was like the turning point for 21 Pilots. So far, they have been just an underground duo, okay? They were getting popular, but still. And the thing about Right is that I knew that from like long time ago, but I completely forgot about the song. So it was a really cool thing to me, you know, to get to rediscover the song, to listen to it again after years with another mindset. Another song that I knew from before, it was the song Heavy Dirty Soul, that it's so good, is the opening track. So we start the album very well. But after that, you know, those songs, they are in the beginning of the album, but after that, I didn't really vibe with the album that much, even though it's a very high quality album. I don't know. Another track that took me a while to like was the song The Judge. And one thing that is really interesting, not only about this track, but this track translates that very well, but not only about this track, is that on this album they are so mature. If you compare this album with the first album, that you're gonna see like this whole progress going on. Alright, after Blurryface, we had to the album Trend. That honestly, no, it's a very good album. It has a really good quality, and I just found out so many interesting things about this album. Like, it actually has characters and a storyline, and after I found that out and listened to the album again, I was like, that makes a lot of sense now. This one is a little bit darker. It's not that it has some skippers, you know, but it took me a while to finish as well. Now, this song Chlorine has been living rent-free on my head for real. I cannot express the amount of times that I listen to that song. It's ridiculous. It's not a song, it's a whole experience. I also liked the songs The Hype and Legend. They both have a really happy vibe for me, which is really cool. Now, the most recent album, can we consider this an album reveal? Anyways, their most recent album, the album that they just released last Friday, it's an album that is hands down their happiest album, which is really funny if you stop to think that it's an album that was made while in quarantine. And it's really interesting to notice how in the first album, everything was sad and blue and gray and, you know, and depressive and etc. And the most recent album is totally the opposite. We're still talking about depression and we're still talking about anxiety and our mental health issues, but somehow it's a really happy album, you know. Like, I was really in an expectation to listen to a sad song, but they don't really have it. It's funny, it just feels like watching a real person getting better. Someone was dealing, let's say, depression for a while, and now after going through all that and having all those feelings and etc., now we are on this point that we're good. We still have that, we still have to deal with that, but we're good. One of the tracks that I liked the most was the song Choker, because I think it has like this really good contrast. You can see happy tones, happy melody with sad lyrics. Honestly, the whole album is kind of like that. The song Mulberry Street is one of the songs that I liked the most. Look, I try to pronounce this word, but it was really difficult to me. But just so you know, this is the best track in the album, okay? It's happy, it has a really good instrumental, it has a really cool instrumental. It's just funny to listen to that after listening to everything in the right order, you know, because like I said, you really get this vibe of, okay, I've been through all that, but now I'm okay. And this is how this track sounds to me. It's a happy album about sad topics, but we're talking about those topics in a positive way, you know, in a very hopeful way. And also we have a lot of creativity, we have a lot of information, but in a good way. And I swear it's a completely different experience when you're actually with the headphones on. So yeah, that's it. I hope you liked this video. I don't know if it made any sense to you, but I just wanted to share that 21 Pilots became one of my favorite bands and the album Vessel became one of my favorite albums. But yeah, that's it. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and go listen to 21 Pilots. It's the best thing you're gonna do for yourself. I swear. Bye.